with a clean sheet so far in this tournament. And if he can keep that here in game number 2, then he has all chances, has it all in the hands for next week to get the victory of the tournament with a clear 8-0 run. But before he can do that, he has to win one more game here against Tiberius, who once more plays the first UK. He really seems to be forged to that division, whilst Hippie switches to another heavy tonk division, the 3rd US Armored. And here we go into the action. We don't see any tanks here at the beginning. We see a good couple of Armored 50s though. We see a good couple of LRs and ACAFs again. And then Bradleys, pivots, 2 CVs. And what's on the other side? We have Terriers with Carl Gustavs, Chieftain as a CV, Sultan as a CV, some Javelin LMLs, and yeah, the Terrier power coming along in quite big numbers, trying to get into good spaces. Armed Rifles and Warriors coming around as well. This once more doesn't feel like 1,500 points. It might once more be 1,500 points. No, Tornado coming around on the hunt for the A10A. I'm still pretty sure it was there last time as well. Okay, going for the Scout. Has to be careful with the A10. Oh! Oh no! The A10 gets the better hit at the beginning. Okay, but will get killed off by the second Tornado. I'm not sure what got the kill up there, but something got the kill onto the first Tornado. Eagle is around as well, and this is a terrible start for Tiberius-rancor once more. Yeah, needed to be more careful of the A10 earlier. If you can get your long-range missiles on top of it, and you hit it with that, and then it's stunned, and then you can kill it easily. But in a direct head-on, if you only start to get into that direct head-on, before you can use your long-range advantage, they will win. They are armored, they have the better gun. So, yeah, that was a pretty bad trade with the first Tornado, pretty bad engagement. All he got for it was a totally useless OH helicopter. And then the F-15 came around for the second as well. If he would have had 2 Tornadoes versus 1 F-15, the engagement obviously would have looked completely different there. And yeah, instead he got the A-10, he got an OH, but he lost both Tornadoes for it. And that is quite rough. That is quite rough here now. He will still have a decent ground force here now. He didn't lose anything to this airfight there. And he's actually pushing really deep here with the Sultan. Has to be careful. He's on a +2 now, but this is a really fragile +2. Chieftain's coming in. His AA is basically non-existent, and without the Tornadoes, he has nothing to protect himself now against A10s. And we have another A10 coming around, and that might already be painful. He has a whole... like, his whole air defense is 1 Javelin LML. Helicopter over here goes down. Chaparral coming around. Sultan needs to be careful. I'm not even sure that... yeah, the Javelin doesn't even have good line of sight on this. Oh no. A10 coming around. Gets 1 kill there. Javelin LML gets 1 hit. Gets 2 hits. Nope. Okay, we would have gotten 3 consecutive hits. It would have potentially gotten a kill there. Gets 2 hits, which will put the A10 back. Sultan now under fire by the military police though. Didn't disengage there. Yeah, super aggressive play here by Tiberius, and it's not paying off whatsoever right now. I mean, he got 100 points out of this so far, and this is not looking good. Javelin LML under fire. ACAF there. Putting good pressure on. Gazelles with rockets coming around. Armored rifles coming around as well. Chieftains slowly rolling in. Armored rifles down here chilling out. But military police is doing a decent job up there. Ooh! Chaparrals versus Gazelle rockets. Nice kill. Gazelle rockets have to be careful. But they come around. Chieftain Mark 11 will try to engage on the Scouts. Scouts can't do anything against the Sultan. That the Sultan got out alive is a biggie. Gazelle rockets not able to finish off the ACAF, but the Chieftain might be able to do so. Oh, unfortunate there that the Chieftain missed that shot. Warrior coming around. Center. Both sides not having too much around here. Bradley will survive down here for now though. As we have another Chieftain coming around. Gazelle rockets still flying around. but they're out of rockets, so they're basically just recon right now. Scout will die. That the Sultan is still alive is a really, really big thing for Tiberius. Quite fortunate that it is still the case there. Chapral getting a nice kill. Warrior potentially could try to get into a position where it can kill that. Has to be careful with the LRS though. Chieftain slowly coming up. Oh no, the Gazelles have to get out of here. Meanwhile, we have Warriors coming around the north, Chieftain coming around in the center, and an M1A1 on the other side. Slowly rolling forward towards the south. Kev and the pivot rolling in as well. Bradley. We have a fire team 84 inside. That's looking hot. Warriors versus military police. Chieftain coming around as well. Good hits there. Chieftain slowly rolling forward. And M113A3 goes down. Gazelle rockets still around as cheap scouts. I mean, they only cost you 20 points, so yeah, you can absolutely do that. Center, it's still such a mud fight. Well, both sides have taken hefty casualties by now and are desperately trying to replace them with stuff from the rear. And it's absolutely wild, and that's kind of where both players excel. Hippie loves the weird games. He loves to then punish you with stuff like this here, the ACAF in the nasty spot. It can absolutely be a nightmare later on for Tiberius-rancor. Like that's how Hippie likes to play. He likes to be the guy everybody hates for when they have to play him. And everybody enjoys to watch because he brings something cool and fancy to the table, but it's really frustrating to play against. LRS sitting around here, having a nice, good position in that building. Chieftain is rolling in on the ground. Oh, Apache coming around. The Chieftain has to get the hell out of there. Will try to get there, but takes one hellfire to the face. Next hellfire luckily won't hit, but the LML is down, so there's no AA whatsoever against the Apache. We have 2 tractor piers on the way, but it will take a long while. You will need to micro your little heart out here as Tiberius-rancor. Oh, and he doesn't do that. Chieftain goes down. Oh, and that's already a big blow there. Military police engaging the armored rifles. A10 coming around for the Chieftain over here. Armored rifles will get completely annihilated. At least the Chieftain will smoke off for now. But an M1A1 is on the hunt. And yeah, the situation in the north for Tiberius is not amazing. Armored rifles down here, engaging. Warrior could help out. There's basically nothing left here for Phoenix, for Hippie right now. Tornado coming around. M113 ACAF still in the rear, but Hippie threw a lot of units away here. Oh no, Tornado versus F-15 in the direct head-on. Not what you want to do, especially with pivots helping out again. Lucky for Tiberius-rancor that this thing is still alive. And wait, did he get Apache? What happened to... How did the Apache die? The Apache did die. Don't believe it was the Tornado, was it? But the Apache did crash over here. I am a bit confused because the tractor piers were in the target, so it must have been the Tornado after all. And that is big. Like, it's really an absolute mud fight now. The beginning for Tiberius is not amazing, but Tiberius getting the better of the trades right now. Losing the Chieftain over here, though. So without a tank in the north now. But potentially with pressure for the south. Warrior could easily finish that off. He could push onto this. There's nothing here. Both sides have taken such heavy losses that they actually have less than 1,500 points on the battlefield right now. Like, they have less points than they had on the start right now. Their loss ratio was above 260 points per minute over the last 9 minutes. And they actually lost more than they gained over since the beginning of the game. Which is not the usual rate. But with these two super aggressive players, you can't see where this comes from. Chieftain Mark 11, CV coming around. CV in the north goes down. Yeah, Tiberius a bit over-eager there. I mean, pushing when you just lost your tanks, you see that the enemy has an M1A1, and you still try to get a CV in there. That was a bit too much. He should focus on trying to achieve something here, as he has 2 chieftains over here. And he knows that the reinforcements for Hippie mostly went into the north. So he has a good timing here now. Hippie coming up with the Engineered Dragons. This really reminds me of the game we saw from Hippie and Fantix in the WARNO League Super Tournament. And there Hippie also had a pretty good start, but then he blundered it away. by being a bit too fancy, being a bit too all over the place, and Pantix was able to come back. And we might still see that here from Tiberius, so Tiberius was a bit over eager here as well. Chieftain moving forward. Another javelin coming up, another rifle coming up. Nothing currently moving through the south. This ACAF hasn't paid off at all yet. Engineer Dragons at least get the warrior over here. LRS now under fire though. Chieftain helping out. Good micro from Hippie, getting it the hell out of there. As the pressure keeps on mounting. Has a scout helicopter here now. Finally gets an M1A1. That one will be really helpful as he currently has, other than that, basically zero anti-tank value in the whole center. Engineer Dragon at least has some range, but it has really little damage against something like a Chieftain. North is looking pretty decent for Hippie, but at least Tiberius has a couple of defensive units here once more. Even brings in a Chieftain. Oh, that is really far forward. Gets a couple of infantry units here as well. Still not sure if he should double down on the northern route, or if he should not invest into this. And here we go, this might be where this game gets decided. If this ACAF gets 2 or maybe even all 3 of these units, this game will be this will be a super heavy punishment for Tiberius-rancor. Especially as one of them is a Milan 2, which is quite the expensive unit. This is a Javelin LML, so also more expensive than a normal Javelin. Like, this is an expensive combination of support and infantry units. So, yeah, the ACAF here could be really, really bloody now. Chieftain hitting the M60. Chieftain over here moving forward as well. Rifles coming in. We have an A10A Thunderbolt coming onto the battlefield as well. Tornadoes this time obviously not as numerous. Maybe there might not be any. Chieftains gets good smokes. A slight bit too early. You kind of want to bait in the Thunderbolt a bit deeper, especially as he has a tornado coming in. Yeah, he should have baited the Thunderbolt a bit deeper. Obviously a bit risky, but you wanted that to get a bit closer. And then maybe get into range of the Javelin LML in the turn, then the tornado comes in, then you get the kill. I mean, taking the safe route here is nothing bad. Loses one Chieftain to the M1A1 though. And the second one takes heavy damage, but he could have potentially gotten the kill there. ACAF gets the kill onto the Milan 2. So gets the most expensive out of the units killed off, but it's not completely devastating. Hopefully Tiberius recognizes what happened there though, but I don't believe he has. So, meanwhile in the north, Bar Team 84 moving on against rifles. Chieftain Mark 11 can move around. Bedford's falling back. So we have a couple of track pierce coming in. Armored rifles rolling forward as well. A10A Thunderbolt coming around. Yeah, for next week we will have a schedule for the streams again. My last couple of weeks were a bit busy. And yeah, I didn't really have a schedule there. I'm sorry guys for that. We will have a schedule for the next week and the upcoming weeks after that again. Ooh, Chieftain could potentially get the M1A1. Yes, that one goes down. Smokes a little a bit too late, and 2 more M1A1s are around already though. And the Chieftains could use reinforcements by something else. Ooh, ACAF getting some more kills down here. Hopefully Tiberius does recognize it now. A challenger in the center right now could be really, really big. Okay, yeah, here we go. Gazelle rockets and the Gazelle recon coming around. And these units here now will move differently. Try to get on top of that. Drag drop here coming around. Armed rifles, you have to be careful. So, yeah, ACAF did obviously absolutely pay off. Killed more than 100 points there. But it's not completely devastating. Rifles falling back. Engineer Flash falling back as well. Chieftain Mark 11 under pressure. Whilst the warrior moves north. Bedford supply chilling in the rear. We have another track drop here coming in. Another Chieftain Mark 11 coming up as well. We also will have the next Friday Night WARNO already next week, as the March one will be early in March. I will be joined by Derek most likely. This time around we found a date that fits. Good kill here by Tiberius-rancor, so Night WARNO most likely next Friday. Sign up will be up soon. And yeah, good kills up here. Rifles holding the line. Bedford Supply coming up, helping out. Fire Team 84 getting good flag body armored rifles. Chieftain's moving forward. Ooh, Chieftain has to smoke off there. So next Chieftain Mark 11 comes out, gets a good hit on the M1A1. M1A1 really needs to be careful. Next Chieftain hit potentially there. Nope. Bradley gets the kill of the TOW 2, gets killed off by the Chieftain. So still a good trade here for Hippie, but at least not without any losses. Kev here has to be careful. The rifles get the kill. Warrior can't fight the 84 teams though. And yeah, Fire Team 84 over here under heavy pressure as well. M1A1 helping out though. Bedford Supply could be helpful. Warrior goes down to the 84. In the south, Chieftains still holding the line. And it's quite a bloody fight here. Another Chieftain coming around. Another Chieftain coming around. Finally a Challenger. Okay, that is good. Challenger coming into the north actually. I would say 2 Chieftains with a Challenger would be a really strong force for the open fields in the center. Whilst M1A1 moves around. Bradley coming up. As Javelin and LML are under fire. Chieftain Mark 11 versus M1A1. Chieftain has to smoke off. Engineer under heavy fire here. And the game has slowed down. Casualty rates have slowed down a bit as well, so both sides have a couple more forces. But yeah, it's quite intense. The playstyle of these two players really being so aggressive, leading to the amount of casualties that we saw early on. Quite entertaining. And also shows why Hippie is liking these medium tanks more than the super heavies, because with his playstyle he just can't afford them. His casualty rates doesn't allow them in his combined arms, because he wouldn't be able to afford the combined arms around them. Also, we have a Chieftain Mark 11 moving up. Once more here on the other side as well. And that's why we also only see a Challenger at this stage now. First M1A1HA coming in now. But yeah, any earlier moment wouldn't not have allowed for them, because the casualty rate here on both sides is just so insanely high. Rifles being pushed back by the Engineer Flashes, which obviously have a good bit more firepower there in the CQC. Not the insane amount that they once had, but still pretty decent. Rifles have to be pushed back. Bedford coming up there, trying to resupply. Good couple of Chieftains now sailing down here. That could be a scary push, but the M1A1HA will be a strong unit to contend that. And Hippie now on a +2 in the north. 22 minutes remaining. We have no artillery whatsoever yet. We have a Harrier with HE bombs. And those 500 kilogram bombs absolutely do a good bang. But F-15s will easily deal with that. Rapier gets a nice kill on the helicopter there, but the F-15 will get out unscathed. Ooh, oh no, Challenger already got sideshotted by an M1A1. And that's terrible. Tiberius-rancor also not realizing it. Oh no! M1A1 getting the Challenger basically instantly there when it comes onto the battlefield. Devastating for Tiberius-rancor. Absolutely devastating. Well, it's Tornado, F3s flying around, trying to get onto the battlefield. Pivots engaging all around. Chieftains flying in here. F-15 Eagle versus Tornado. Getting another kill there. Challenger Mark 2 coming up. As the Chieftain engages the Engineer Flash. Well, rifles in the north under heavy fire by a lot of stuff here. Chieftain super damaged. And yeah, there's just so much stuff here right now for Hippie up there. +2 does continue as Tiberius-rancor tries to get more stuff up there as well. M1A1's keeping up the pressure. CV tank goes down and the north looks like it might collapse soon now for Tiberius. Hippie for sure outnumbering him big time now. M1A1's here with good hits on the rifles, finishing them off now. A10A Thunderbolt will come around, 2-hit units in the south. Chieftain with the early smoke, but the M1 and the M1HA in a good spot. Challenger sitting in the rear. Two Thunderbolts on the hunt. Next chieftain does smoke off Javelin. Just to get a shot off. Oh, Challenger! Oh my goodness, no! Ah, Tiberius! Two Challengers that did absolutely jack before getting shot. Oh, big F. Yeah, he believed it was behind the ridge. It was not quite. It was just on top of the ridge. And that is... it's just absolutely heartbreaking at this point. As Hippie now kind of has this game in his pocket now. Another Challenger coming up, but like... you need other units right now as Tiberius. Those Challengers were supposed to trade somewhat cost efficiently, enable your other units to move around a bit. But the Challenger keeps enemy armored away or kills them off. And with that not being the case now, Hippie can play a lot more aggressive, can take trades a lot more favorably, and that means that you need to replace more units as Tiberius-rancor before you can get the Challengers back online, because until the Challengers back online, the rest of the combined arms, like for example that drop here, there are dying, and yeah, Tiberius-rancor just not quite looking on top of his game today. A couple too many sloppy plays here, and Hippie obviously always relentless. If you give Hippie a small opening, he will take it and he will push you through it. As yeah, his pressure is starting to pay off here. Tiberius-rancor now down to +5 off Hippie, which will tick up quite quickly here. And there's basically nothing left here in the south for him outside of two tanks. But those two tanks are outclassed by the tanks on the other side heavily. Rover CP trying to come in. He really desperately tries to hold the line. Engineer flashes north versus Warrior, not going too well, but there's IT4s, there's M67s, there's a lot of stuff here for Hippie. And Warriors trying their best here to engage all of this stuff. Doing a good job there. Pushing on forward. Pushing on forward will get rid of the military police as well. And that should be a good kill. Yes, they get that one as well, but Hippie is not gonna be stopped from getting a take here, I believe. Like the north, yes, that one does work out for now, but I don't see how he gets back into the center, into a comfortable position here anytime soon. M1A1 and HA is still around. M1A1 needs a supply truck again. Apache is around though, and a lot of the Javelins went down. Rapiers went down as well. A10 now coming in. Yeah, the Challenger Mark II is around, but that's outclassed by the M1A1 HA. HA, 2 more penetration, 1 more rate of fire. So, yeah, against the normal M1A1s, the Challenger is a fantastic tank. And we might see that here now. Especially with the Harrier cluster coming around as well, which heavily damages the M1A1. And yeah, Challenger finishes it off afterwards. But Hippie here keeps the +3 going. Warrior moving around. Armored Rifles trying to move forward. Rifles moving around here as well. Chieftain Mark 9 slowly rolling in. Challenger Mark 2 has to be careful there. Beats the Lord to the side. Takes a lot of damage. Might allow Hippie to just pounce on it from the rear now. Or hit it with an A10. LRS, good disengage there. Bradley coming around. Doesn't have any toes left though, so that's a mistake. Yeah, Challenger gets an easy snipe on that one. Actually, Tiberius able of stopping the take for now. CV somehow makes it in, but the pressure is insanely high. North, yeah, Hippie always on the push, always testing. Loses units there more than maybe necessary, more than other top players, as he's just so aggressive, but that also means that he won't miss opportunities like we saw from other top players that were missed, like Lathans and Phoenix, for example, missed in their games. Like, Hippie will find those weak spots. Also means that he will create some more weak spots on his end by losing those units than the other top level players, but that's the race against Hippie. Finding who finds the weak spots first, and he is usually quite fast, so he usually is the one to do so. And that's why he has a pretty good winning record in most tournaments, and he can also beat everyone. as he is always scary, which is cool to see. He also kind of can lose against everyone, because sometimes he's overextending even against players that you would say are below his caliber. But that's why he is such a interesting person to watch. Warrior moving around here in the north. Bradley trying to hit the Warrior. Doesn't quite get the hit off. Bedford coming around from the rear. Could repair the Challenger Mark II. A10A Thunderbolt. Not finding anything on the front line just yet. But Ford has to disengage there. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it for Tiberius here. Like, he has still some forces remaining now. And he has at least one Challenger, but he just doesn't have any beef in front of it anymore. And that's the major issue here now. Another Challenger coming in, but there's combined arms on the other side. There's still Air Force. There's still a good amount of AA. There's still a lot of infantry, especially. And some armored vehicles, whilst on Tiberius' side it's just basically his couple of tanks and then a couple of CVs, and that's kind of it. It's not how you come back in a game like this. Harrier HE trying to get up onto the top. But it most likely will be another one-way trip, and for Fireteam 84 that wouldn't be worthwhile even if you would hit it, and two F-15 Eagles stop it from happening in the outset. Like, yeah, using airplanes needs a different mentality at the current patch. What's here? Oh yeah, Rover CP really trying to be sneaky, but there's a good amount of units trying to block that there. Bradley's coming around, Rocket Apache coming up as well. Rifles on the fire by the fire team. Next fire team coming up. Challenger has to retreat out of there. Challenger Mark II over here. Slowly moving forward. Not really getting any shots off onto anything. And yeah, this is really not looking hot for Tiberius. Director Pierre coming up. I tried to find a way, but in the end, if you're this far behind in Eugen games, there, especially in WARNO, where there's like not even the potential comeback of the income like there is in Steel Division or anything like that, so yeah, and the time is also ticking you down so quickly then. If you get yourself behind like this, there's usually no coming back. And I would not be surprised if Tiberius taps out at this point, if he loses one or two more units. And Hippie absolutely has the force to push him to that point. Like, yeah, good setup over here, no sneaking of a Rover CP really possible there. Rover CP over here, it's still trying to move around, but the one on the north is getting way too closer to the enemy. Apache is still around, there's no IA close enough to really deal with that. Tornado will try, but there's a lot of AA here. So the Tornado most likely will pay for it with its life. Yeah, Chaparral gets the hit. F-15's coming around. Apache doesn't even die there. CP still moving around. The other CP moves up here, but there's just too many units to stop something like this from sneaking in. Really good picket line here by Hippie, who also just has the forces to overrun the center right now. Two M1A1s and an M1A1HA should kind of do it on their own at this stage, even against the Chieftains and the Challenger. One more Challenger, it seems like, went down somewhere. I'm not 100% sure where, but yeah, it seemingly just died. Else we have an A10 moving around. Apache rocket over here. I'm not sure if that's on... Yeah, it seems to be on defense guard. Just Hippie knowing a like-minded person when he sees one. Not wanting to get any shenanigans into his rear. And it's just playing it really cleanly now. Really, really cleanly. Good micro game, showing that he can play these as well. He might not be on the same level as the other top players, but he for sure is absolutely capable of doing a normal macro game, a normal long game as well. M1A1 and M1A1HA moving around here. Threatening the Challenger. Getting a Chieftain hit heavily here. That one will go down in a second. Chieftain under pressure. Tiberius actually gets the Rover CP in here, But the M113 kills it before it can completely capture it. Mud on the way, and a +2 is not good enough here for Tiberius. A10 Thunderbolt coming around. M151 flying in. Wheel on 2. On the battlefield, Gazelle coming down. Challenger Mark 2 rolling in as well. Stinger on the way. So you have a good setup over here. Ooh, another CP got sniped before it could get in. And yeah, the mud CP of Hippie should still keep him in a good advantage position. Advanced tractor pier goes down over here. And there's basically nothing left here for Tiberius. Fire team looks pretty good there as well. Rover CP is pretty exposed now. No tanks left whatsoever around here. He has a Challenger and a Chieftain in the north, but that's basically it. So yeah, these units could A-move at this point. Another Challenger coming in, but it will take a while, and there's just nothing left. Mud CP gets the capture here. Will get it stabilized. Another CV coming in for Hippie. Challenger coming up. Warriors coming up as well. Fox on the way here. But I mean, that doesn't capture anything or anything. Like in earlier series where it could have CV sniped, that would be great, but won't be able to do that. And Hippie still has a massive point advantage. Like if Tiberius at least would have the point advantage at this stage, it could be somewhat exciting. But without that being the case, and especially with him using his CV here now, that should be kind of game. We have a +3 now for Hippie. I'm wondering if there's even a CV left for Tiberius at this stage. He is so heavily outnumbered now. Like, obviously Hippie doesn't know it, but he could just move over his opponent at this stage. I mean, the 3 challengers that are on the battlefield would be a nuisance. To get off the chieftain there, but still it would work, I believe. But not really necessary. You have the advantage. No need to take risks here. Can just slowly make the enemy suffocate. Chieftain coming up, Challenger in a good spot. Armor rifles will roll in here. That's the Chieftain over here. He's sitting in the forest, but it really can't do much. And 1A1 on the other side. Not quite as good, but solid enough to hold it off defensively. And then all the Apaches coming around. 7 minutes remaining. Hippie could potentially go up even further. Has an M1A1 Abrams CP in the rear. Whilst the Fox is moving around on this edge as well. Sultan coming up, which, if it can get into the center, might stop the tick at least, but at this stage that just doesn't matter. Like, Tiberius would need a +3 at this stage, so it means he would need to take the whole control over the center to get the W, and I obviously don't see that at all. M150, M1A1, all coming around. Challenger under heavy fire. Rifles getting hit pretty hard as well. Ooh, getting a good kill there. Gazelle flying around. Challenger taking some good damage there. Rifles under pressure. Here in the rear. That's a Chieftain Mark 11. He is rolling in. +3 for Hippie. Still continues. And this CV is still a good bit away. And there's little protection for it all around. So the Sultan really might have trouble to getting in here. As we have 6 minutes remaining. A10A Thunderbolt coming in once more. Yeah. Challenger has to be careful. The southern one at least does get to dodge, but there's no way whatsoever because the rocket goes down even to the A-10 there. That's the A-10, just continually flies around here, gets the kill onto the Challenger, gets the kill onto the Sultan. And this really should be a GG timing now. Yes. We are back to +3. There's no CVs left for Tiberius. Tiberius really keeping holding on to this game. Like, I for sure would have GG'd out of this a long time ago, so congratulating his tenacity here, but this time around it really shouldn't be. And yeah, here we go. Tiberius does GG out as well, and Hippie with a really decisive victory. Over 5,000 points left on the battlefield in the end. And yeah, well done by our British trickster, getting himself into a spot where he can win the monthly next week if he gets the W there. And maybe, potentially, if the other two players draw, he could even get it if he only gets a draw next week. So we'll see. GG's to Hippie and Tiberius. And yeah, well done. Well done by Hippie.